We are glad you could join us for the second part of this show, Her Standards with me, Queen Tambori. Today, I am joined by an amazing panel. I have Josie, I have Ida, and Baby Toto. We are talking about breastfeeding as the world marks World Breastfeeding Week. Now, before we took a break, we were just trying to address some of the issues that career women or working moms have to deal with, especially the ones that hinder them from enjoying exclusive 6 months of breast milk, which I'm told is very nutritious and healthy for the child. So Ida, you are founder of Winning Feeding and Parenthood Kenya. I got the name right?
Yes, you
Yes. You need to buy me lunch on that note.
Soon.
Yeah, I think you're doing an amazing job. You have a big community of about 45,000 K.
Yes, thank you.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
How did you do that? How did you form that community? Because it's not, I know it's not rocket science.
Yeah, it's actually not easy. Coming up with a community on Facebook that is beneficial in this time and age is not easy. But once your group is educative and has the right audience and passes across the right message, it is not that hard to get members to join. Of course, it started out small, and I had to promote it through other parenting groups in order for it to grow, and of course through my Instagram account, which also has the right following, which is mostly moms. So through that I was able to slowly grow the group, and also through my Facebook page, which is Happy Baby Cookbook by Ida. Many were able to link the two, and that enabled me to grow the group day by day.
What was the inspiration? I mean, you could have started a community of God knows what. Why did you decide to focus on parenting and motherhood?
I decided to focus on parenting and motherhood because many moms have different struggles in parenting, motherhood, even fathers, because the group is also open to fathers who may be going through different challenges or want to share joys, blessings, successes, everything to do with parenting. So I decided to bring a community of parents and parents to be, or those who aspire to be parents one day, to be able to come together and talk about these different issues around parenting without fear, without judgment. It's a safe space really for anything to do with parenting. Yes.
So what came before what? The cookbook or the community?
The cookbook came first.
So it inspired the community.
Exactly. So that also made the transition or rather the growing of the group a little bit easy, because people could associate me with my books and now the group.
The conversations that you have in the group. Now, talking about conversations, what are some of the biggest concerns or challenges for moms? And what are some of the solutions that you offer on the group? Do you have experts? Do you share, what do you call them, shared experiences? Are they able to support these moms who are breastfeeding?
Yes, I'll start with the working moms. Yes, for the working mothers, there's been a lot of concern mostly around bonding. First of all, bonding. Most of them feel guilty that when they go back to work after maybe 3 months or 2 months, some even are forced to hustle much earlier, which is a month into breastfeeding. And most of them have that guilt, mom guilt, like I'm unable to breastfeed my child for this amount of time. They're going to miss out on my baby is going to miss out on the nutrition they need. I'm not going to be able to bond with my baby how I should bond with them and all that. So number one is bonding. Number two is many working moms especially are not well educated on expressing early. So most of them start getting worried like a week to work. What do I do? How do I start expressing, and all that. Second is owning a fridge. A lot of moms actually don't own a fridge. So they wonder, if I'm expressing, where will I store the milk, right? And not many are also aware of expressing just for daytime use. And I believe the expert here will be able to tell us more on how to store express milk. Another concern is spaces of expressing in places of work, like we've just talked about. Yes, many workplaces don't offer that space, so mothers now end up wondering, what do I do? And that is where they end up giving up and probably introducing solids when they should not be introducing it early. Yes.
Well put out. You know, let's just pick it up from where Ida has said, Josie. Many working moms struggle with making that transition, you know, from staying at home with their child and then now moving to work to resume their duties after the end of their maternity leaves. One way that they can deal with this, of course, is to express milk. What is the right procedure? What do you need to do psychologically, physically? And when it comes to the storage of the express milk, what is the proper ways to ensure that baby's health is not endangered?
So ideally, a mom should already have started expressing milk before she gets ready to go back to work. So if she's fortunate enough to be one of those who has the 90 calendar days of maternity leave, which is still not long enough, but at least we have that. Before that, from about 6 weeks, she can start expressing milk and practicing. So if she has managed to purchase a pump, to be able to start using the pump. And she doesn't even have to create a stash, because I know, like Ida has said, that is some of the fears that people have, is that they need to have a freezer full of milk, when actually that's not true, because from about those 6 weeks, the amount of milk that a baby can hold in their stomach is actually finite. It's not infinite. So between about 150 ml and 180. You know, so I know when we look at formula, you see, I don't know, 180 and then you see 210 and then I don't know what, but actually between 150 and 180 is what a baby can hold at any one point. And even for a breastfeeding baby, 180 is quite a lot to finish in one feed. So I tend to advise moms be able to express about 150 ml for every 3 hours that you're away. Yeah. So that means that even when you go back to work, when I talked about those intervals, when that 20 minutes, you know that you're collecting that, yes, exactly. So you're collecting about between 150 and 180 in that session. So you're not trying to collect a liter, because that will not be possible, you know, because also at home in the 3 hours, if the baby is feeding every 3 hours, that baby will most likely drink between 150 and 180 as well, or even less. Especially in the beginning, it will be between 120 and 150. So I usually say 150 is the average. But just remember, what your baby's tummy can hold is set. It's not, it will expand with time, but before the 6 months, when you're now introducing solids, which sit in the stomach even more, there's a space there where the baby is only growing at a certain rate. It's not like in the first 3 months where the babies grow very, very quickly. Fast, Between 3 and 6 months, babies tend to taper. Yes, they gain weight, but it's also, the curve is starting to slow down. So keeping that in mind, a mother has started practicing at home. So they have two options. They can either use their hands, which is hand expression, or they can use a pump. And then pumps come in either a manual pump, like what I have here. So this a manual pump, meaning that you're using it to, you're still using your hands. So you have your pump like that, and then you're using your hands to create the suction. Now this takes quite some time.
Yes it does.
So even though you have a pump, this might not be as efficient as using your hands. That's another thing. So some people think that having a manual pump is going to be more efficient than using your hands, but not necessarily. And then now you have electric pumps. So this is an electric double pump. It's new in the market. So the difference between this one and the traditional ones is that this one, you put the cup inside your bra. So imagine if I'm wearing, so then it's more discreet. So this is not outside. This is going to be inside your bra. So it's a lot more discreet. And then it's 2 of them. So you have that. Yes. And then you have a motor. So it's a lot more discreet compared to the ones that you're using this to collect in, because that one you have to have the protruding bottle. So this one collects in a cup. So it's one of the newer pumps that are in the market. Now the trick with pumping, regardless of what you use, is that you must use your hands. You must use your hands as you're pumping. Why? Because inside the breast, if we were to have a cross section of the breast, you have these sacs, and the milk is produced in these sacs, Yeah, and then when you have that let down, when the milk is starting to come down, the sacs are squeezed, like almost like a fruit, like grapes, and then the milk comes down. Yeah, when the baby is breastfeeding, what I had talked about before, you know, when the baby holds, they are massaging with the chin, they are massaging with their jaw, with their tongue, you know, so there's a lot of massaging of the breast going on. Yeah, but even if we put this cup here, what is happening? It's only suction.
There is no massaging.
There is no massaging.
Okay.
So when a mother is now ready to express, she gets ready. She massages already, even before she puts the pump on. She starts massaging. Why? We want to start with stimulation. We want to get the hormones flowing that allow the milk to come down.
Okay.
Once the milk starts coming down, she puts the pump on. Yes. Okay. But then after that, she still
keeps
squeezes.
Massaging.
Yes, because now the suction is helping her, because the suction from the pump is helping her because it's pulling the milk. The same way a baby does when they suck. But now the hand is the one that is going to work like the jaw, the chin, the tongue. That is now where the hand comes in.
To stimulate.
Exactly, to stimulate and to push the milk out. So as the pump is going, the mom is also massaging so that she can get the maximum amount of milk out in the shortest time
possible.
Yes. Yeah. So that is the trick. So whether or not she's using, even with this, because you see manual, we're here. You and then you expect, you see this is just plastic. So you expect that if you do this, you get milk. No. You need to massage as you're doing it. So that's why it's even more work. Because if I was to show you about hand expression is more or less like a manual pump. Because with hand expression, you push back and press forward. Push back and press forward. Why are you pushing back? You're pushing back in order to get as much breast tissue in your hand as possible, and you're compressing forward in order to squeeze the milk out. Yeah.
Like I said, where were you? Where have you been all my life? And I'm sure many women are really appreciating the information you're giving us. How much is that pump?
This pump, it goes for 12,500. Yes.
12,500?
Yes.
Ida, do you think breastfeeding is an expensive affair?
I think for working moms,
it is.
But for moms who have more time at home, stay-at-home moms or work-at-home moms, it isn't. It isn't an expensive affair.
It shouldn't be. I remember those many years ago, I got myself a milk warmer. It was not cheap. I must have used it for maybe 3 months, and then I realized I could achieve the same thing I needed for the warmer. I could do it any other way, in a cheaper way. Which begs the question, do you think, Josie, mothers sometimes go overboard when it comes to budgeting for baby, not just for breastfeeding, just baby in general?
I think we do, and I think we get carried away even by what we see, the advertisements, but it's because we always want the best for our babies. So we are always influenced. We are so easily influenced, especially as a first-time mom. I know there are many things that I bought, and I thank God for my subsequent children, because my goodness, everybody used every single item.
It was well used.
It was well used by the time we were done, whether or not they wanted to, but I made sure that everything was utilized. But I think there is just also just keeping a level head and understanding that just start small. Maybe don't buy everything on that list on Biashara Street when you walk into the shop and they give you like 45 items.
I know.
Also, if you have a very close community, very close support system, if you have friends who have given birth before, family members who have given birth, I mean, cots are cots. Your baby does not need to sleep in a brand new cot, you know, and things like those. And just utilize the support and the resources you have around you. It will become more affordable.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned baby cot. We have one that has been used through generations and generations, and it still serves well. So what was your experience like, Ida? Did you find yourself overly spending on babies?
No, actually I didn't overly spend on babies. Like just said, I managed to communicate with other like peers who had given birth before. So at least, and I did a lot of research also on parenting groups, and I realized a lot of moms saying how a lot of things that they bought were really useless. So I took to that advice, and I decided to buy things as we go. so that if I see there's something I really need, I decide to purchase it then. Otherwise, I did not overly spend, especially on the second born. I think I really did basics, real basics. And it's serving us well up to now. So far, no regrets.
I think second-born children, gosh,
Yes.
you're such survivors. The things they face,
Yeah.
you know, firstborns, we are still very new to this thing, and
Yeah.
we tend to take a lot of care. But the moment the second-born lands, totally forget it. We let them just grow.
Yeah.
Anyway, now when it comes to breastfeeding, the other thing that I know mothers really struggle with it is nutrition. Yes, now you have done how many cookbooks? Two. Did
so
you say
far
it
two.
is the best in East and Central Africa for moms?
I think in Africa, I have not come across any other that are that good. And I think so far in the last 4 years or 5, I must have sold probably close to 50,000 copies or more.
That is lovely.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So thank you.
Where can we find it? You say it's online.
Yeah, online. Currently, especially with COVID, you know, we
Yeah.
don't want to keep mixing with people up and about. So for now, I only have soft copies. So once somebody contacts me and does payment, they get it immediately,
But
or they
it's-
get them immediately rather.
It's also available as a Facebook,
Uh,
on Facebook.
What I have is a Facebook group and a Facebook page. So the Facebook page is Happy Baby Cookbook by Ida, and that is where I promote a lot of what do I call it, material on feeding and whatnot. Then my books are in soft copy, so those ones you will not just get them anywhere online. You get them directly from me. Yes, so if anyone really wants them, they just contact me direct, then make a payment, and I send it to them. Yes.
But now that we have the author in studio, so maybe you can tell us some of the mistakes that moms make when it comes to the nutrition of baby. Yeah.
Yes. Number one is feeding babies one specific type of food. You know, old wives' tales. When you start feeding a baby after exclusively breastfeeding for 6 months, the kawaida, potato, malenge, spinach, you know. So we are now in a bubble where many moms and dads, unfortunately, do not want to get out of. They don't want to experiment with other foods. I also tell moms, did you know some spices are baby friendly? And they're like, no, I can't give my baby spices, they'll get ulcers. But I try to educate them like in depth. This spice, if you're using A, B, C, D, this is the benefit to baby, you know. So that is the number one mistake, sticking to a certain rule of they must eat this. Another thing is also sticking to a specific way of cooking. So there's this belief where boiling, food must only be boiled. And we all know how boiling really, there's a lot of nutritional value are lost in just
the
boiling
process, yeah.
alone, right? So there's that as well. Another mistake they do is some now go ahead and introduce everything at once. You know, when a baby is transitioning from breastfeeding to solids, it has to be slow, you know, one step at a time. Even if you're doing one food at a time, it has to be, you know, just a step at a time, because, you know, a baby's digestive system is still not well developed and all that. So you realize somebody has introduced 5 foods in one day, you know, then a baby has constipation or diarrhea or, you know, digestive issues, and someone's like, what can I do, you know, this. When you ask them, what did you give your baby? I gave them meat, fish, potatoes. It can't work that way, you know. It has
Mashakura.
yeah, so that is another common mistake moms do. And giving babies boring food. Babies today, they don't like boring food, so you have to be very, very creative in the kitchen. It's very time consuming. It can be very, you know, there's a lot of brain work that needs to go in what you give your babies. You need to dedicate time into giving them good food. Yeah.
Same way you serve the family. Josie, still on food, well, when it comes to food for the supplier of the milk, yeah, we have had a lot of myths about, you know, you need to drink 2 gallons of uji, you need to drink a sufuria of soup, you must eat another sufuria of njahi. So basically, this new mom's role involves a lot of eating. Yeah. What is your take on that?
And I think a lot of it comes from the idea of trying to build a mother's strength during breastfeeding. But actually, most of those are not necessary, because like I said about breastfeeding, it's about demand and supply. If you're talking about what foods do I need to eat in order to I don't know, I hear what foods do I need to eat in order to make milk, or to make my milk thicker, or to make my milk fattier. And my response is always, your body already knows how to make milk, even without the food, because you already have milk by the time you're 20 weeks, you can already lactate. So when it comes to food, it's about building back your strength, because there's so much of the baby's stores, whatever it is that the baby has in their body right now, like the iron and everything, already comes from you during pregnancy. So you can imagine how much has been leached from a pregnant woman's body. And especially if she perhaps had not been eating properly, maybe because she has had a condition like Ida had, or maybe because of cravings. She gave in to her cravings, so she was only eating fried chicken and Fanta for her entire pregnancy, you know. So already there we have a very poor diet during pregnancy. The last thing we want is now to just do starch and carbs, which is just uji, and also the beans, which we think are very protein, but actually they are quite high in starch. So we really give our mothers very starchy, high carb diets. And what they need is a balanced diet, especially with the iron, to rebuild iron. We need food that is rich in vitamins and minerals, because those are the ones that go into the milk and are transferred. So if you want to keep up the vitamins, you know, high in calcium, which I can understand the bone soup, but that is not the only thing a mother can live on. So I always tell the mothers that I support a balanced diet. Breastfeeding only requires approximately at most 500 to 800 calories, depending on how much time you're spending feeding that baby. But that is a snack, so that is 2 mugs of uji, you know, as your snack. So uji as a snack, not as a main meal. And njahe as an accompaniment, njahe not especially. Not a bowl of njahe with soup.
I know, with soup and uji and ugali and everything.
Yes, exactly.
And you're full all the time.
Yes, yeah, and you're gassy because it's just so much. So balanced diet. I always tell my moms a balanced diet the same way. And it makes it easier to also now introduce foods, like Ida has said, to your baby. If already you have a very healthy, balanced family diet, then it's very easy to introduce solids to the baby, because they're just going to eat from the family pot. Yeah.
Probably we need to bring in, let's tag along the men to our prenatal visits, and let them be part and parcel of the conversation that we are having, right? Wow, ladies, thank you so much. I have learned a lot as usual. This show is always so engaging and informative, not just for the viewers, but also for myself. Where can we find you on, and engage you on the work that you're doing? Are you available on social media?
Yes.
I think Ida has hinted so much about her social media platform. So maybe Josie, are you available on social media? You can also tell us where to find you and where we can interact with you.
I'm available on social media. I work through, my company is called Honeysuckle, HUNYSUCKLE, Honeysuckle Kenya. And then also the Kenya Association for Breastfeeding. And that's where I do most of my advocacy work.
Oh, there's Kenya Association for Breastfeeding.
Yes, there's the Kenya Association for Breastfeeding.
Amazing.
Yes, I'm the honorary secretary. We're a group of professionals who are qualified in offering breastfeeding support. And so we've come together so that we can create an organization that not only is reputable, but also has certified people helping mothers out there. So those two, Honeysuckle and the Kenya Association for Breastfeeding.
Sante. Ida?
Yes, I use my name on Instagram, which is Ida Kamanyire. But on Facebook, I have, like I've said before, I have Happy Baby Cookbook by Ida, which is a Facebook page, and a Facebook group or community, which is Winning, Feeding and Parenting. I'm also proud to say at least my platforms have also given me the opportunity to be a nominee for a Cortex Chicken Award, but that was in 2020. Then this year, Why Africa also recognized me as one of Africa's most influential people, number 2 actually. So yeah, at least when moms or fathers or parents come to me, they can trust me with whatever they need help in.
So ladies, what are your thoughts on breastfeeding in public? I know it's quite a heated one. Many people do not agree that mothers should show off their breasts in public.
Personally, I advocate for breastfeeding in public because the baby, this is an innocent baby and this is where they get their food from. So I believe that a mother should have the right to breastfeed anywhere and at any time. The baby also has the right to get milk anytime and anywhere they want to. What I could also add is one should not be ashamed, right? But if you do not feel comfortable showing your breast, you're allowed to cover up. But personally, I am that mom. I'm that mom who does not care what you think, whether it's showing or not. I will breastfeed my baby because it's not a sin. Whatever I am doing is not a sin. It is good for me. It's good for baby. Yeah. So
when baby is hungry, baby gets food.
Exactly.
Anytime, anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you believe in that, Josie?
I completely agree, and
Yeah.
it's actually a baby's right to be breastfed wherever they want to, and a mother's right to do that as well. And I think it's something that unfortunately, of course, has been skewed. Like we were talking about the snapback and the way that breasts are viewed, and that needs to change. I know culturally as Africans, it was never a problem. Even when you look at us before colonialization, most cultures we walked topless. So where has the problem now come in? Why is it a problem for a mother? And it's not as though women remove their entire blouse and bra and completely expose themselves when breastfeeding a baby. Very little is even exposed. But I find that it's almost like 70-30, where 70% will be like, mbona mtoto analia, nyonyesha mtoto, in public, and it usually comes from the men, and then there's a 30% that unfortunately I would say maybe brainwashed, where they think that feeding your baby has a sexual connotation to it, so, and it's very unfortunate, but we also need to go back to normalizing it, so where mothers feel comfortable, like she's saying, like for me, I never had discomfort. If you are comfortable, just do it. Yeah.
What do you think about breastfeeding in public? Maybe you should tell us, you sitting at home and watching, do you approve of breastfeeding in public? Or is it something that you cringe at? Talk to us at KTN Home across all platforms, or also talk to me at Quintambori on Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter. Well, that's it for us here at KTN Home. Thank you so much for taking your time to be part and parcel of this show. If you have a comment, you still have information that you'd like to share with us, please talk to us. We are available as KTN Home across all platforms, or you can talk to me directly at Quintambori. I hope that the information that we have received from our distinguished guests will be helpful to you. Till next time, bye for now and stay safe.